Hey everyone, back. This is another video about this fan. If you remember, there was a video I had not too long ago about a fan that I picked up from a coworker that was broken. It wasn't working. The problem turned out to be this thermal cutoff. I disassembled it. I picked up some of these from Amazon, so I decided I'm going to go ahead and try to fix this. Everything else seems to be intact. I just have to go and put together a few things like put the capacitor back here. I'm going to replace this fuse with a new one, and then try to rewrap all these wires for the windings, and then stuff it all back in and so forth and put it back together. So I'm going to start trying to do that, and I'll record certain parts of this. Anything that seems interesting. Some of it might actually end up being quite boring, honestly. But we'll go along and we'll see how this works out, and hopefully when I'm done I'll have this thing fixed, and yeah, it'll be an interesting thing to see, I hope. Anyway, let's go. So I turned on my soldering iron and my solder. I think the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put the capacitor back in line, because I cut it off so I could test it, and I think once I'm done with that, then we'll see how it goes. So first thing I'm going to do is actually I need to get some heat shrink and slide it on, because what I'm going to do is solder in these parts here, and I'm going to put heat shrink back over it, and then when I'm done soldering these two lines back together, I'm going to put the heat shrink on. So again, just to show you, and I'm going to pull out my helping hands here, and let me shove this back a little bit since I can center it a little better, so you can at least see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm going to do this as the basic goal, so I'll do that and I'll be back in a minute. Alright, try to put some flux. Make this thing stay in place. Might not be the best way to do this, but it's the way I'm doing it. Let's see if we can smush this in a bit. There. Hang on, I'm going to do something else real quick. Get some more solder on it. That's probably good enough. Yeah, that's pretty hard and solid. Alright, that's that one. Not perfect, but I think it'll do. I'm going to do this one. So I think I'm going to set it up about here. Yeah, that'll work. Oh, almost forgot the most important part in some ways. Got to put some heat shrink on it. Don't make that mistake. I don't think I've ever, fortunately, I don't think I've ever done that to where I've soldered something in forgotten to put the heat shrink on. Though I've come close, but usually I catch myself at the last minute. So I just did it again there. Get going, and you just kind of forget. It's not the best thing in the world, but you know, it'll happen. Oh, popped out. Okay. Alright, here we go. Get this thing in here. I think that's probably going to do it. Yeah, I'll probably put some more on, both of them. There we go. Alright. Oh no, it popped loose. Not good. It's a little warm too. I have just screwed this up pretty bad. Oh yeah, there we go. That's pretty bad. Alright, pull it apart. Yeah, I screwed up. Didn't push my heat shrink down far enough, so I heated it up and it shrunk. Well, that's great. Alright, let's redo this. I think I'm gonna cut it and redo it. So hang on, let me get some strippers and stuff. Alright, so restripped it and do it again. This time I got helping hands in a better spot. I can do it better job this time, not screw up. I don't know though, I've already done it once. Let's see if we can do it again. At least I pushed my heat shrink down, so hopefully I won't make the same mistake. Alright, this is doing a little bit better. See how this one is. Still a little toasty. Alright. I think this one came out a lot better. Yeah, that's in there. Good. Okay. Now, I'm going to worry about the heat shrink right now. I'm just going to slide it down. Get it over it completely. Now let's see, if it's something down here. Hopefully, it'll be long enough to cover. The only downside about doing this is you lose flexibility on the line where it's soldered at. You know, the copper wire, besides of course its conductivity, is it's also quite flexible. So when you solder, do these kind of joins in the middle, you lose the flexibility that the copper has in that point. Now, it's probably not that big of a deal. It's probably not going to end up being anything that's important, because you can always work around it, but it's just something to keep in mind that's always a problem. So I'm going to pull out my little propane torch. Well, lighter fluid torch, I guess, which is propane. I guess it is. And we're going to try to heat the heat shrink, make it shrink. I don't know if it's a very good torch. It ain't shrieking much. Yeah, I don't think it's on. Nah. Sometimes this thing doesn't work very well. Let me flip it back and use it this way, since it'll be a little better. It does not seem to be working at all. Let me figure out what's wrong with this thing. Back in a moment. Alright, now I got it going. I don't know, it just wasn't lighting right. Alright, let's see what we got here. Ooh. I don't burn it that much. It won't do any harm though. Oh yeah. Alright, that'll do it. A little too much there, but better some than none, I guess. Anyway, this isn't the best repair in the world, I can assure you that. Alright, so that's that part. Capacitor's hooked back up. Now, I'm going to work on actually replacing the part that went bad before. So, I have to be kind of careful here because this is the wire for, you probably won't see it well, this is one of the winding wires that goes to the thermal cutoff as well as from the switch, so I have to cut it out and replace it and then put the other one, the new one in. So I'll let me look at this real quick and see probably what the best way is to do that. I'm going to have to look at it with a magnifying glass and think about it a bit. Back in a moment. Alright, so what I've done is what I decided to do was basically I cut the old one out at the pretty much where the leads are at. Hopefully you can see that. Oh, not focus there. Well, actually I'm way off focus here, or way off center, sorry. There we go. That's better. Yeah, this one is the best for shooting. That's probably better. Let me refocus and see if this will get just right for you. Alright, so what I did was I cut the leads, or cut the old component out right on the leads, or right before they met with the old component. And what I've done is I've taken the new and I've kind of twisted it around and wrapped it so it'll kind of hold it in place. And then what I'm going to do is try to solder it back in place a bit. Basically kind of just join those leads together. So I'm going to put a little flux on and then grab my solder and let's see if we can get it in there. I'm doing it this way because the idea is, I think I'm worried that if I try to resolder it back in place with the other stuff, it'll come loose and it won't sit right. So this way at least there's kind of like there's a slight mechanical holding because it's kind of twisted. So I'm going to see if I'm going to do the other one. So give me a second, I'll be back in a moment. Well, I had a cutoff there, my video stopped. But as I'm saying, I've got all this done. It looks pretty good. Now I'm going to see if, hopefully I did not kill the thermal cutoff, because that is always a risk when you do these things. Let's see here. Should be passing, should be have continuity, I hope. Well, I may have blown it. Yeah, I think I may have blown it, so I'm going to have to cut this back out. Nope. Maybe I didn't. I may have. Yeah, I've done this before too. Not my first radio here for screwing up, let's put it that way. Let's make sure here I'm not missing something. Yeah. Wonder if I shouldn't do this a bit different. Good news is I have 4 more, so it's not like I'm really hurting for these things. Again, once you blow one of these out, you know, they're done. Alright, let me back in a second. Let me think about this a bit. Alright, I fixed it this time. Or, sorry, let me correct myself. Got it soldered incorrectly, and this time I didn't blow the fuse, which is good, so that's a plus. I basically had to just end up making sure I soldered very quickly. What I did was I'd put the solder and I just dropped the iron on it real quick, and I also put the clip across the lead so it kind of act like a heat sink and pull the heat off before it actually got to the fuse itself. That seemed to work pretty well. So alright, I've done this. I think the next step is I'm going to try to go through, and I probably won't do this on camera. I'm going to clean up first since I was dropping flux all over the place. But what I'm going to do now is pull this heat shrink back over, or well, it's not really heat shrink, I guess you could say it's heat wrap. Pull this back over, and then try to get this thing to fit back into the winding. So to give you an idea what I'm talking about, all the, if you remember from when I took it apart from the first video, all these windings, wires, and all this stuff was all wrapped in this paper, and I'm going to wrap it back up and try to stuff it back in carefully without tearing anything. And then I think I'm going to use some Kapton tape to wrap it as well. Then I'll pull all these little zip ties out, which help hold it in place, and then get some new ones, which I've got a big container full of them, and then try to shovel that back in there so I can close that part back up. I'll be back shortly. Alright, that was a pain in the neck. So I have knotted it back together, shoved all the wires in, used some zip ties to get it all shoved back in. I hope I got it right. I think I do. Capacitor's back in there, got heat shrink here, wrapped some Kapton tape. Probably didn't do a very good job, but it's in there. So now I need to go and hook up the switch, back up to the main line. Before I do that, I'm going to clean up a little bit. I'll be back shortly. Alright, back again. So now what I've got to do is, this is where, actually let me get something to point with. This is where I spliced before I cut it. I'm going to splice it back together. This was actually just joined with a cone twist connector, which I found interesting. I considered doing this for that, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do it the right way and reconnect it as one piece, because they ran it directly to the switch. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to show you that because my hands are going to be the way while I'm working this, because I'm working inside the housing here. Back in a moment. Alright, so I soldered. Can't really see too well, but it's here. I got heat shrink on it. I did the twist tie for the other line coming back. So now I'm going to try to put all this thing back together, and we'll see if it works or if it blows up. Back in a moment. Alright, after quite the struggle and trying to remember where everything went, I got it back together. I've not plugged it in yet, so if I plug it in, hopefully it won't blow up in my face. But let's try that first. See if we let the smoke out. No. Alright, well that's always a good sign. Let's turn it on and see if it works. No, fail. Doesn't work. So something went wrong. I may have pulled a wire, or maybe there's something else wrong. Anyway, I don't know that I'm going to spend any more time on this. Yeah, too bad. I'd hoped I'd fixed it, but apparently not. I may have popped something loose or hooked something up wrong. I kind of doubt it though. I think I would see something else. Anyway, I might poke around some more. If I do, I'll come back and see if I can figure out what's wrong. It took some effort to get this thing together, so not really feeling the love. And in spending this much time on something like this that's already broken, really isn't worth it. But I'll mess around a little more. If I find something, I'll show you some more footage. Anyway, if this is truly the end for this, then thanks for watching, and if you want to, you can subscribe, sign up for notifications, etc. Comment, like, dislike, and I hope you have a nice day. Alright, just a quick follow-up. I dug around in this some more, and quite frankly, I couldn't see what was wrong. I did some checks following it through back the way I did before, and I did notice some oddity in some of the numbers coming back from the continuity check. It wasn't checking out quite the way it used to be, so I probably screwed something up or I fixed something wrong. No worries, it's what happens, but you don't know if you don't try. I might scavenge a part or two. Like, this capacitor's pretty nice and it tested quite well, so unless I've blown it, which I really doubt it, then I'll probably scavenge that. I'm going to take this. I don't really know that there's anything worth taking out of this, especially if I know that it's shot, and I think it might be. I don't know, I might. We'll see, I haven't decided yet. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, even though it didn't work out, but that's what happens. Sometimes you can't fix things, so, you know, if you're trying this sort of thing. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.